Welcome to another episode of the Jacksonville Metal Militia podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Van Order, aka Van Terra. With me, as always, is David Martinez Martalica and Jose Better Hide Your Baby Oil Brunette, our producer, and our very, very special guest, which I'm excited to be on the show, Matt Young from King Parrot. How we doing, bro?
Thanks for having me.
Yes.
Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. So let's talk about the current tour that you were just on with Pantera, Monomarth, and the current tour in Australia. I want to know how that's going and how that was. Fill us in on a little bit about that, if you don't mind.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So we guess we've been back now for a month or two, a month and maybe just a bit over a month, I think. And I guess going out on and touring in North America with Pantera and Monomarth was one of those. It's kind of surreal opportunities that come up in life where you're just like, yeah, you got to do it. And as a band, it was certainly the biggest tour that we'd ever been part of. Aside from doing, we did Pantera and Power Trip in Europe earlier in the year as well. That was amazing as well. But I guess, we were kind of part of the majority of the North American run, which was amazing. And I mean, some of the shows were just incredible, and the whole crew was incredible. And it's kind of like you kind of get transported into this surreal world of, there's 7, 8, 9, maybe I think in total it was maybe 10 tour buses and 9 or 10 semi trailers and 50, 100 people running around backstage but seeing the same people every day and building those relationships over the period of a couple of months that we were all out on the road together. And it was just an incredible experience. And, it's something that we are incredibly grateful for. And we certainly don't take it for granted. It's just something that we'll always remember. And yeah, super thankful to Housecore Records and Philip and Kate and the whole Pantera crew for taking a band like us out there, because they certainly support the underground, and that's been something that we've benefited from over the years with our affiliation with Housecore Records. And we've toured with Down, and we've toured with Superjoint Ritual, and we've toured with Phil Anselmo and the Illegals, all over the world as well. So it's been super cool. And since we got back, we've been doing our Aussie tour. So we've just been kind of doing like weekenders. Here we did Queensland a few weeks back. We did like the Sunshine Coast. We did Brisbane. We did the Gold Coast. This coming weekend, we're heading over to Perth and then doing Adelaide. And then in first week in December, we're doing some regional shows plus a Melbourne show. So we're playing in a place called Ballarat. We're playing in another place called Albury, and then we finish off the year with a hometown all ages Melbourne show, which is going to be really cool.
Nice. Do you have any plans on coming to the U.S. and having your own little standalone kind of a deal going like you do in Australia now? And if you do, hey man, please bring it to Jacksonville, man. This city, man, it's dying to have like a great metal scene come back. The last thing I think we had here was Lamb of God, and before that was Crowbar and COC. But it's not like it used to be, because back in the 90s, man, prime that's when Pantera was prime. We get Pantera, White Zombie, Marilyn Manson, Nine Inch Nails. We got all the big names, man, even some great underground stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's kind of like, I don't know what's going on. They're building it up. They got a great new amphitheater here, and
Okay.
904 Music Hall is great. That's where we saw Crowbar, and I met Kurt Weinstein and his wife Robin, and met Pepper and all them. And it's just, Jacksonville kind of needs this back again. And that's the thing. If you guys come, I'm front row doing backflips off the stage, man. I love it, man. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll be back soon, man. We're working on it at the moment.
Yeah.
Nothing's been announced as yet, but we'll be back soon. I think that the announcement's coming soon, so it's all in the works and it's all being organized at the moment. But yeah, we'll be back soon. I just can't say anything about it yet, unfortunately.
But that's okay. We'll leave that for next week. How's that? That way, when you come back, we'll maybe be
Yeah,
able to.
we'll do it on the next one. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, we'll do it again in a month in a month and a half or something like that, and we'll be able to
Okay.
talk about it.
Yeah. Once you get to release it, we'll be the first ones to reach out to talk to you about it. But I do have a question. So for me, right, I
Yeah.
have worked at big events like that, but only in the local area I've been in, making sure, someone like Matt Young and his band are good, no one's bothering you guys. But I've always heard the same thing from the people that I'm doing security for, and it's the dieting and stuff like that on the bus. And as an overweight Latino, Matt, how is it when you come to the States, right? Because you're on the bus. You guys got your own cooks. You guys got, what they call craft, right? Tell me, you can be honest now. Eating at home versus eating away.
Well, for us, coming to America is its own thing as well because there's so many. I mean, you guys aren't known for being the healthiest people on the planet, that's for sure. But that being said, when we were doing that last tour, like there was so much great catering, and it was all the shows were catered for, so we would get in there and eat so well. Yeah, and we would usually get into the venue around 11 a.m. or lunchtime, and I just wouldn't eat before that. I'd just go in and start eating at lunchtime, and then what would generally happen is then we'd go out, go set up, do all our stuff, do sound check, and then um, we would do our set. We were playing. I think we were playing at like 7 o'clock or 7:30 or something. And I wouldn't maybe have a little snack in the afternoon, but nothing too much. And then after our set, then I would go and have dinner. And so we were really spoiled, man. The food was incredible. And but the problem, like for the first month or so, I was okay, right? And then our bus would often pull up at the gas station or something. We'd be driving. It'd be like 1 or 2 in the morning. You still got a bit
Mhm.
of adrenaline pumping through you from the show, and about a month in, this time I was really trying not to get into the ice creams and the chocolates and all of that shit.
Yeah.
And our guitarist Squeeze, I'd see him and he's eating like all the fancy ice cream and stuff, and I'd just be looking at him, and then I cracked, man. I gave in about a month into the tour, and I started eating all that shit with him, and I reckon I put on about 10 kilograms like while I was over
Yeah.
there, and then I've been working hard the last month and a bit since I got back to get rid of that excess weight, but.
Yeah, and the good part is not so much the putting on the weight; it's getting it off, maintaining it, and then hopefully in a month and a half you're going to call Steven telling him you're coming back to the States. So there you go
Yeah.
Yeah.
again.
I lost 80 pounds just so I can come down and be like, if I'm going to go see these guys, I'm not going to be some fat ass going to see these guys, especially the people I really looked up to. So, man, I've busted my ass. I've lost 83 right now, man. So, trying to drop a whole cool
Good one.
100. So,
Good luck with it, man.
yeah.
Good luck with it. That's not an easy thing to do in
Yeah.
America.
I don't think it's an easy thing to do anywhere.
Yeah,
Tell me,
true.
Oscar, what's the difference like whenever you were touring with the Pantera show, and the Montmartre and all that, and then like when you're on the smaller tour, what's like the fan like interaction? Is it like more? I know the smaller venues are more like I can't think of the word. They're more like my wife says it best. Like they're more
Intimate.
intimate. There you
Yeah,
go. Yeah,
intimate.
yeah. She says like it's the show with Pantera. She's like it was a lot more intimate. So she really dug that show. So if you get more of a better vibe with the smaller crowd versus the larger crowd, or how's that go?
Yeah, it's a really different thing when you're playing those bigger shows. Obviously, there's that separation between the stage and the area where the fans are. So, we're you know over the last few years, we played a lot of those bigger shows, and so we've had to really I mean, and then not to say that we haven't done it a lot in the past either. Like we played lots of festivals and bigger shows in the past too. But I think getting used to the stagecraft is a little bit different. The way that you interact with the audience is a little bit different. You know, like when we're doing a 30-minute set supporting a bigger band or a 45-minute set or whatever, like you kind of got to stick to what you're doing. It's a little bit more rehearsed. It's a little bit more scripted. Whereas, you know, when we're playing here in Australia or we're doing club shows over there in America where we're the headlining band and we've got like an hour set, we like the crowd are right in our face. There's a lot more crowd interaction on our part. We can kind of ad lib a little bit more, which we really love to do. Um, and the dynamic, you know, even the dynamic between America
Mm.
and Australia is very different as well. Like,
Yeah.
the way that we perform in Australia is quite different to the way that we perform in America,
Okay.
in terms of our audience interaction, because we're known for uh, I guess here certainly known for our audience participation and what we call taking the piss with the audience. You know, we have lots of hecklers. People will be giving us a hard time, giving us shit, and we'll just give it right back to them. And that happens a lot here in Australia, and it's part of our culture,
Oh,
and it's part of what we do. And so we'll
It's
put these.
expected every time you do it, right? It's something that you know is going to happen.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah, yeah. When we played that first show back, uh, when we got back from America, and straight away, man, the audience were into us and giving us a hard time, and we were giving it back, and it's like it becomes like this comedy stand-up comedy routine almost for us, and
well, with that
you
being
know,
said,
sometimes when we do, sometimes I was just going to say, sometimes when we do that in America, people don't understand that we're joking and they take
yeah,
it seriously.
they
And
don't get it, and they
like I
might
can
get
see the
offended.
comments sometimes on Facebook, and people are like, "Oh yeah, fucking whatever, man, you said this shit," and you know, and it
Yeah.
was like, man, we were joking, like we're always like joking, you know.
yeah, yeah. Because
Yeah.
I
So
noticed that whenever
I was going to add
West
because
Palm.
that made me think. So in Bozo, for example, I noticed that you had a
Okay.
lot of BTS there. You had a lot of what's going on behind the stage, on the stage. You guys had the view from the crowd. Now, was that an actual show or was that you guys filming a video for Bozo?
That was a show. That was an actual show, man. Yeah, that was a show. That was a long time ago. That was at a festival called Cherry Rock Festival. It was held in ACDC Lane here in Melbourne.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
there used to be a little bar down there called the Cherry Bar. And they used to block off the laneway and put a stage down the end, and you know they'd get like 1,000 people in this laneway, and it was unreal, man. It was such a cool festival, and we were lucky enough to be able to film our video at the show that we played there that day. And we had like a friend of ours was like filming with a drone, and he like launched it off this skyscraper building that we got access to, and so he launched the drone off and flew it over the top of the audience, which is why you get such some really cool footage of that sort of that angle. So that was actually a show, yeah, many years ago now. But yeah, we were very grateful to be able to document that. Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, because that's like when I
Nice.
was like I was saying like about being in West Palm, and Alex, that was my first time seeing you guys, and same with David. Um, and I'm like, I told my wife, I was like, I'm going into the pit. I'm going to be up front. I've got to do this. This is the last time I'm doing it. I'm 47. The knees don't hold up like they used to. So I'm right on the rail.
All right.
And then when, like I said, when you guys came out, it was awesome. It blew me away, man. And I can tell you, like,
I'll be honest, I have never heard your music before. First time, first show. Yeah, I got hooked. I mean, I was up, and
yeah, man.
you guys
Good,
were
man.
rocking
Yeah,
it.
and I work for a hospital, and I tell Dave, I was like, look, man, I got him on the YouTube Music subscribed. They're on rotation right now in the air, man. I'm going to see my patients. They don't know what I'm listening to, but that's what's keeping me going, brother, all night long. And it's been on rotation. It's like, Dave, I got to tell you, man, because I've heard you guys before in an interview with Phil Anselmo, and he just raved about you guys, and I was still I was in this, I don't know, man, stuck in with my tires spinning in the mud, like what I'm listening to, and when he's like King Parrot, and his raspy voice, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna check him out. And then I saw the video for Shit on the Liver. I'm like, oh, these guys seem to be pretty badass, you know? And then it's like, here they are. I'm like, Dave, we're going to see Pantera. These guys are opening up. And like I said, man, I could not have been more impressed because I always feel like it's a telltale sign whenever you see a band and they sound great on the album, but they're even better live. And that's what I got from you guys the most, you know. So I was again extremely impressed by you
You guys are amazing live. There's no question.
Thank you. I mean, that's where that's our thing, you know. Like playing live is our thing. I mean, we're grateful that we've got all these crazy music videos that we love making too, because it's just another opportunity for us to be creative making videos, you know. But you know, we've got the writing aspect of it, we've got the music video aspect of it, but then our live show is, you know, that's what we love to do. We love to play live, and it's you know, I mean, we've been going for a long time as well. You know, we've been going for nearly 15 years now, so it's like it's and when and it feels like it's starting to gain, like we've done lots of tours. Like we've been to the US like a lot. We've done like maybe 14 or 15 US tours over the years in different spots and different places and different bands and different lengths of tour and all that sort of stuff. But it feels like at the moment it's getting some really good traction, and we're getting some great support from people in the music industry over there that want to see us do well. So we're very grateful for that.
I haven't gotten a chance to see you live, but I'm sure we'll get that announcement in a month and a half. That way I can see you live. But I want to touch up on your videos because you said something that struck me. Some crazy, amazing videos. So Steve and Dave are telling me, hey, you got to check this out. And I know word of mouth is always going to be a winner for everyone, right? Because if someone tells me, hey, listen to this and tell me what you think, and I like it, once I start watching your videos, how did you guys come up with some of these concepts? Really wanted I'm thinking to myself, all right, guy comes in on a motorcycle in a bar, and the next thing you know, he's going down the toilet. I told Steve, because I texted him right away, dude, what do you think they did with all the extra turds afterwards? Like, what was that?
Oh my God. Yeah. So what happens generally when we come up with a video concept is it'll come in here somewhere, and then I'll talk to our video producer. We work with a guy called Dan Funk, who's just an amazing, talented filmmaker, and he doesn't really do it. I mean, he's done a lot of music videos in the past. He doesn't do so many now, but he's a great guy, super funny, super talented, and super knowledgeable about all of that sort of stuff. And he knows what works, and he can. We have a bit of an understanding where I can bring him an idea or write a video treatment, and then we'll sit on the phone sometimes, or have a meeting, and we'll sit there and flesh it out for 3 or 4 hours. And the initial idea that I have will turn out, you know, there'll be some aspects of it, but it'll come out completely differently, and then we'll go, well, let's go with it, you know. So for this one, the one that you're talking about, for Fuck You and the Horse You Rode In On, we had the idea of wanting to recreate that scene from the film Train Spotting where they go down the toilet.
Right.
And that's where we ripped that off. So we had to do some research into how they made it look like there was someone jumping down the toilet, right?
Right.
And so we cut a toilet bowl in half, and we built a whole toilet cubicle. We built it like so it was its own separate thing, and then we had a little ramp that went down from the toilet. So when you jumped in, you were kind of jumping in,
To a
and then you had
slide.
to kind of kick your legs up and then slide down the ramp. And so everyone was sort of standing on the other side of the ramp to hold us because it was a really steep ramp and you would fly down it. So we had to kind of create some.
Where do you store that?
Some safety. Well, we just built it in a workshop, you know. We just built it in a friend's workshop, and then we just pulled it down, you know. But then, yeah, with all the fake turds and stuff, like I had to go to like Kmart and then all of these kind of places, and I bought like 200 fake turds, and and they all, if you look closely, right, they actually have little eyes on them, and we got a texter and blacked out the eyes so you couldn't see the eyes. But if you look closely in the video, you'll see that some of the turds floating down actually have eyes.
Like
And
Mr. Hankey from South Park.
because the texter came off, like the Sharpie marker had washed off after we threw them in. We we had all our friends' kids there, and they had boxes of the turds, and we'd be like in the water, and the camera guy would be there, and then we'd all go underwater. The camera guy would go underwater, and then we'd make it look like we were swimming while the kids threw all the turds on top. And then they would all, like, it looked like you're swimming through a sewer of turds. And then we'd, all right, cut. And then we'd have to get the pool net out and scoop up all the turds and do it again. We did it
So
like
now, whose
20
pool was
times,
it?
30 times or something
If
like
it's
that.
like your pool,
It was
a
one of
friend's pool.
no, it was one of my best friends. He's got a pool, and to make it look black, we put curtains down the side, and we weighed them down so it looked like it was dark in there. And I had all those turds sitting there in a box at home, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do with these now? Like, what am I going to do with? And I ended up just throwing them out. I was like,
I see. See, when you say you had to throw them away, I would have been signing them, putting them on eBay, giving them out every time you go somewhere. Hey, thanks for coming to watch us. This is from the band. Here you go. Here's a turd on me. Yeah.
yeah.
So speaking of a couple of your videos, I got a question. The purple puppet.
Oh yeah.
What's the meaning behind that, if there is, or how did that come into play?
Do you know who that is?
No, I don't.
No.
Like
Oh, you
it.
don't? Oh, well, look it up.
Steven, did you?
Look it up.
No, I didn't look it
He's
up.
his name's Randy Feltface, and he's a friend of mine who actually the guy who does the puppet is he was a vocalist in my first band that I ever played in. And, he's a really successful comedian, and he does like comedy shows and stuff, and he plays in America. He's on tour in America right now, and he's a really successful comedian. And if you look it up, Randy Feltface, you'll see very very successful comedy puppet, and yeah, he's doing so well at the moment, and
Oh,
absolutely kills it over there in America. Goes over and does Europe and the UK and all that, and he's super super popular and successful here in Australia too. And
yeah.
yeah, he just came and did a cameo for us, which was really cool. It's just one of those things. People often bring it up and say, "What the hell's with that puppet?" And it was like,
Yeah.
That's I had to ask.
Yeah, because I know we had talked about it, man. I love piss wreck, man. But no, Jose, you want to touch up about what you were saying about the bar or whatever?
Yeah. So we were talking
okay,
about
yeah.
the bar.
Yeah. It's actually not the one bar. It's actually it's not the one bar. It's all different bars.
No, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all different. Like so the one from I'll go from the start. So uh, Dead End was filmed at the Tote in Melbourne.
Mhm.
But they're all like all Melbourne places. Um, the Tote's like probably one of the most famous kind of underground music venues here in Melbourne, and so that the Dead End one was filmed at the Tote, and then what's the next one that we did? The one for Home is where the gutter is. That is filmed at a place called Bar Open in which is not too far away. Um, and then what else did we do? Oh, the one for Fuck You and the Horse You Rode In on that is filmed at a place called the Barwon Club, which is in a nearby city, which is like maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours from hour and a half from Melbourne.
Mhm.
So yeah, they're actually all different places. Yeah, so
It's so
they
funny.
kind of look similar, but yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say in the video, it's like they almost have the same setup, and I was like, is he using the same bar? Is it like a friend of his? Is it his bar? Like, is that somewhere we're gonna have to go drink when we go over there?
No, well, they're definitely all places that you should go and drink when you go over there, when you come over here for sure. But we like to mix it up, and because we play all of these venues, all the time. So and have played all of those places a lot over the years. So we just like to mix it up and put them in those different places, and people can,
Sure.
whatever, if they want to go visit, they can go visit.
You had me because I could almost swear that they were the same place. And I know that
Yeah.
David and I were talking about um, Piss Wreck, right? And then,
Yep.
Steve had jumped in and we were talking about, between the little Asian guy. So we were wondering, so
Two in
were
their
these,
house.
are
Yeah,
these
I believe it every
extras?
time, man.
Are these extras that you're hiring for this? Or is this like an Asian friend of yours that owns a store and said, hey, I want to be in your video?
That dude, right? That dude. So I'm clean. I'm a clean and sober guy these days. I've been clean and sober
Mhm.
for like 14 years. But so that guy from that,
Mhm.
he when I used to drink, he was the guy at the bottle shop that was right around the corner from my house, and I used to go and see him because I used to drink like an animal. Uh, he, I would go and see him every day, and buy like a cask of wine or a case of beer or whatever, and uh, yeah, I don't know. He just always struck me as a really funny dude. And
Mhm.
when we had that idea to roll someone in a big tire and do all that stuff and take all the unemployment checks to the bottle shop, he, I don't know why, he was just like, "Do you want to be in it?" And I think it was just a spontaneous decision that he was in it, and he was great, man. He was so funny.
Yeah.
Really good dude, really funny dude. And just
Oh, yeah.
people always
I
like,
feel like
Go ahead, Steve.
I feel like, man, when I'm watching these videos, I'm like, there got to be multiple takes. These damn things are so hilarious. I can't see how they keep a straight face the entire time. I mean, this can't be a one take drop or whatever. I gotta imagine this is like you're dying the entire time.
yeah, there's definitely a lot of laughs, and there's definitely a lot of, we don't really like script everything. We kind of just ad lib most of the time, and we have a bit of an idea of where we want it to go, but because everyone, and especially our bass player Slats, who's like the chubby sort of short dude, he does a lot of the does a lot of the talking and stuff in the videos. He is really quite creative in that sense, and he's got quite a bit of experience with film and stuff as well.
Yeah, I think
Right.
David said like that was a slash.
He's fun to watch. What?
We always like when we seen like I said we seen you before he was. I think that was the first thing David was like talking about. Was like that bass player, man. How I was like, yeah, how cool is that guy up there, man? He got no fuck. He's up there just jamming, shirt off, don't give a fuck. Up there just jamming. I was like, that's a cool son of a gun, man. I dig
Yeah,
that.
he's a
Yeah,
badass.
So with that being said, since we're on Piss Wreck, there's the stamp that you were using to authorize the unemployment check. Is that a real stamp? Because that has your logo and everything on there, or is that something that you
Yeah.
use for your PO box to mail out bills?
No, I had a stamp made with the
no,
King Parrot logo on it that has our PO box and that on there. So yeah, but I just thought, why not use it? I thought, yeah, but that's an actual King Parrot stamp. Yeah.
There you go.
hey, so let me ask you something. How did you get involved with Philip and Semo, first of all, and how did you end up getting on the house core, you know, records or whatnot? Because like I told you before, uh, Philip absolutely raves about you guys. Every time I've watched an interview, it's always, he's King Parrot, and he's again that's like a glowing endorsement for you guys, and it's I mean every time he talks about you guys, he's got nothing but great things, and just raves about you. So how did you guys get involved with them, and how did you wind up on house core?
I think when we put the first record out, Bite Your Head Off, we pressed it up on vinyl, and I think we might have sent some records and CDs over to Housecore just to, just like a submission kind of thing, I guess. And then we actually kind of got on the radar when it was when we actually filmed. I'm pretty sure it was the same day we filmed that video, or it might have been a year later or something like that. But we played with I Hate God in ACDC Lane at the Cherry Rock Festival. I Hate God were headlining it, and they were on tour out here in Australia, and we were playing. No, it was a different. Yeah, so we were playing on the inside stage. So it wasn't the day we filmed the Bozo video. We were playing on the inside stage. Must have been a year earlier, and Jimmy Bower and Mike Williams and Joey Lacaze just happened to walk in when we were playing, and the place was packed, and people were going bananas, and they were stage diving, and we just we had a great day. We had a great show, and those guys just stood there and watched it, and they were digging it. You know, they were getting right into it, and there's just this sort of understanding, I think, between Australian humor and the approach to the music it's similar to the southern states in the US, I think. And we just had a good connection. We went hung out after the show, and we went and spent quite a bit of time with them, and gave them some shirts and some records for themselves. And it wasn't too much later that Jimmy must have told Philip, I'm sure, or Mike, because I think Mike, the singer from I Hate God, was living at Philip's house
Okay.
at that point. You know, he was living above the studio there. And yeah, then one day we just got a random email from this weird email address, and I called my guitarist and I was like, dude, I think Phil Anselmo just emailed us, man. Like, that's what check the band email. And so I started writing back, and he must have been online, and he started writing back, and he said, come and say hello to us when they were coming out with Down, and they were coming out to play a festival called Soundwave Festival in Australia that used to happen out here. And that was like a month or so later that they came out, and we got added to that festival at the last minute. Just randomly got added to that festival at the last minute. Some band had to pull out, and we got the call from the promoter, and they said, "You guys want to play?" And we were like, "Fuck yeah, we'll be there." It was like, I think Metallica were headlining or something like that. It was a huge festival, like 50, 60 bands, sort of similar to like what one of the like Rockville or Sonic Temple or one of those big festivals is like for you guys over there. And anyway, we pulled in, we got in there, and I immediately saw Jimmy Bower, and it was like, "Hey Jim, what's up?" And he said, "Yeah, man, come and meet all the Down guys." So we went and met the Down guys and hung out. The next minute, Down were playing in the afternoon, and we were playing in the evening for some reason. I don't know why, but we just got up there and we watched Down from the side of the stage, and we were hanging out with them and getting photos and all that stuff. And then when they were playing Bury Me in Smoke, they were like, "Get out here and jam with us." And we were like, "What the fuck?" Like,
It's like, okay.
Awesome.
yeah. So we got up and jammed Bury Me in Smoke with them, and that was really quite surreal
Yeah.
for us because we had no idea that any of that stuff was going to happen. And so that was really cool. And then about a month or so after that, we were on our first tour in the US, and we played at South by Southwest in Texas. We did some shows with Cattle Decapitation over in California, and then we went and did a whole headlining run around North America. And when we were playing in Baton Rouge, and we were playing in New Orleans. So when we were kind of down that way, Philip and Kate came out to the show in Baton Rouge, maybe, and we were hanging out, and they were like, "Come stay at our place and come and hang out," and we were like, "Okay, sure."
Hell yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, so we went and hung out, and I guess the rest is history. Like later that year, we played at the Housecore Horror Fest. We signed on to Housecore Records. We did a big North American tour with Down and Orange Goblin, and then after that tour, we went and recorded our second record, Dead Set, out at Philip's studio.
Hell yeah. That's awesome. Jose, you got?
Yeah, so I was curious because you said, like, for example, they asked you to come up on the stage. I recently watched a video where Jason Momoa, you guys pulled Jason Momoa up on the stage, and you guys are up there jamming and singing and taking selfies. How did that come about?
Oh man, I don't know. Like, so every night on the Pantera tour, we were like, we get up and sing Walk. We do the gang
Right.
vocal on Walk. We do that at pretty much every show. It's just a thing that we do. And So the Pantera people, like they obviously knew Jason Momoa was going to be there. He was hanging out. He had his whole entourage and posse and all these people. And it was in London. It was at the Wembley show actually. And he, because I was getting up and doing it, and I seemed to be the responsible guy. They were like, "Hey, can you look after Jason Momoa and make sure that he gets up there and get him off?" And Jason Momoa was like, he was getting kind of pretty messy that night, and. And so here I am trying to wrangle this giant dude and get him to the right spot. He was so excited, man. He was so pumped to be up there on stage.
It's so funny because
Pantera.
I told David and Steve, I was like, so I'm watching Matt on stage and I'm watching you do live stuff. I'm watching your videos. And you know, when I look at you, the only guy that looks a little bit bigger than you, I think, is your bass player, the one that they're saying never had the shirt on. But then I see this video of you standing next to Jason, and he made you look so much smaller. Like he didn't
Wow,
dwarf
he's
you,
a big
but
guy.
Big dude. That's a big dude.
yeah, he's a big dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I've been watching that show that he just put out, Chief of War.
Yeah.
If you watch that, where it's really cool. Yeah.
I haven't watched it yet.
I watched the preview of it.
Yeah. He's it's really cool, man. I enjoyed it. He's a massive guy, man. I was like, and the next day, like there was a photo of me and him in the Daily Mail, which is like the main London newspaper.
Yeah.
Which was cool. I was, like it didn't mention anything about me. It just mentioned him, but I was in the photo.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing, because when I saw that, I started thinking, so Jason is like heavily tattooed. And I know I was talking to Steve about this, and most people that get tattoos have a lot of meanings to it. So, in reference to you, tattoos meaning, background. I know that in the videos we could see a few if you want to talk about them.
Most of my tattoos are like band orientated tattoos, music orientated tattoos. I got a bunch of King Parrot tattoos. I got a bunch of other bands that I like. I've got. I got most of it. I would say is either family or bands that I like. Or bands that I feel are worthy of being tattooed. So, yeah.
Today,
I didn't mind.
David and I are going to put some money together, and we're going to get Steve tatted with King Parrot. So,
Oh, I love it. I love it. Well,
Yeah. Say, let me ask you. So, who are some of the bands like in here in America that we should, who should we look out for in Australia? Like, what are some of the bands that we should be listening to? That you like, and like also like who are you listening to like right now? Like who's on your rotation of like who you're listening to on a regular basis, like new bands or anything like that? Who should we be paying attention to in Australia that would kick our ass or melt? Like for me, like I always use the expression "just melt my face off," because I seek out extreme metal every time I get the opportunity. So is there any bands that we need to be aware of?
oh, look, man, there's always lots of new stuff. Whenever someone's asked me this question, my brain just goes blank, and I'm like, shit, man, I should have thought about bands, But one band that I really want to plug is a band called Goat Shaman, which is our drummer Max. Max is our kind of new drummer. He's been with us for maybe 6 months or so now. And he sort of joined us just after we put the new record out. And we kind of poached him from a band called Goat Shaman that are from Melbourne. And they're a really cool band. They're kind of a bit more like stoner metal kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then there's this new band that I've been working with that they haven't released anything yet, but I'm going to help them release their new record. They're called World Fucker. And there's the guys in the band are all people that have played in other bands in the past, and they've all been pretty like prominent, sort of successful musicians in the Australian scene. But this is their new project, and it's coming out really, really soon. And I'll probably post some of that stuff on my social media, and yeah, so you'll see that coming up soon if we're connected on social media. And they're it's out of control. It's just mind blowing stuff.
Nice.
Um, but then that being said, you know, there's a really great punk band that I love from Australia called Private Function, who we've played at a few festivals with, and I love they got this really bratty attitude, and their live shows are out of control. Um, so they're like, you know, three bands that I'm really digging from the Australian scene at the moment.
Hell yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Um, so let me ask you, I love asking this question because I kind of feel like I knew whenever I played in the back when I was younger. But when did you realize when did you realize when you like, when you were doing King Parrot, like, yeah, we got something really special here, man. Um, I think this is it. You know, when did you realize that moment where you were doing it and all that? Can you talk a little bit about that?
We kind of felt like we had something different, like at the start.
Yeah.
We kind of knew when we put that first EP out. Like, I mean, we've all played in lots of different bands before, and you know, like good bands too. Some of us have been, you know, like played in bands that have had some sort of success in Australia and things like that. But when we kind of put that first EP out, Stench of Hardcore Pub Trash, that came out in 2011, and we knew that we had this different sound and a different thing going on. I think the important thing for us was to be able to establish our sound right at the start. We established that we had this different kind of energy between the guitar and the drums, and then my vocal thing over the top was kind of made it stand out, and it was a little bit different to what other bands were doing. And we kind of been able to kind of mess around with stylistically with different kind of grindcore, thrash, like rock and roll, punk rock stuff. We can mess around with all of that stuff and meld it into our own thing because we've developed our own sound. You know, like we sound like King Parrot. Like there's not too many other bands that sound like us. So
Sure.
that was a real benefit for us from right from the get go.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Um, and if you did like, that being said, like, is there any advice to like a lot of these young kids? Because the metal scene over here, man, it's especially in Jacksonville, is kind of dying down a little bit. Is there any advice you can give these
Mm-hmm.
young guys that are out there that are going to listen to this? Like, what would you advise them to do? Like, and like, what would you tell them? You know?
Well, I would say just be yourself. Just try and, yeah, like develop your own sound, develop your skills, develop, you know, work on it, dedicate yourself to the craft. Networking's huge.
Yeah,
Like that was sort of that was the thing that really got us out there was, you know, we would network within the Australian music scenes and put ourselves out there, and we would, you know, like say, hey, we would approach a band that we like, and we'd say, hey, can we come up and play in your city, and in return we'll get you guys to come down and play in Melbourne, you know, and do little things like that. And one of the things that I like to do, and things that bigger bands have done for us, is like, you know, is try and do some research into the scenes in the cities, and when we go over and play, you know, get a couple of cool up and coming local supports and
yeah,
do all that stuff. So that's sort of like how I like to still stay connected with all of that sort of underground um, stuff that's going on, um, and you know, give people opportunities the same way that we've been given opportunities.
yeah. Awesome. Yeah, kind of like a pay it forward kind of a thing. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because I know when I was younger, man, we had something really good. And I knew we had something special, man. And life kind of happens in a lot of people's lives, mine and others, and it was kind of like, I always felt like it was a missed opportunity. But I don't look back. I've had 3 great careers, man. You know, and I'm still enjoying the music that I love today. So that's why it's like just like you said, you got to separate yourself. I always felt like that was the bigger thing. I didn't want to sound like nobody else. I wanted to stand out from the crowd, and I know like back in the day, like the band back here was Limp Bizkit, and there was another band that was up and coming that was kind of like their little brothers. They were kind of bringing along, and I joined in. The first thing they asked me, uh, my friend Chris Turner, he had a brother named Mike Turner, and they knew them very well. And Mike's like, "Hey, they want to know if you rap," and like I said, "No, I don't rap. Here's my material." And they listened to it, and they're like, "Oh my God, that's something that we really wanted to do. So thank you for not saying you rap." So So that's yeah. That's why I always like when how I love the answer that you gave because it's kind of like how I saw things.
Yeah, for sure.
Jose, Jose, you got anything, David? I know you were
I'm
asking
good.
for
I
Dave.
just want to thank you again because so we really appreciate you coming on with us.
Yeah,
No, that's
was-
absolutely
yeah,
my pleasure, man.
I enjoyed your music, man. It's really good.
yeah. And there was
No,
one
thank
thing.
you guys for your support.
There was one thing. I was very shy. I seen you come down to the audience during that West Palm show, and I saw you eyeballing one of the dudes in the crowd, and you were like 5 feet from me, and you're standing right next to the guy. You got his arm around him in the crowd, and I'm like, I told my wife, should I go over there and ask him, hey, can I take a picture with you? Because I was like, that's King Parrot, and I was such a pansy. I just didn't do it, man. And I was like, I don't know how he would take it. I didn't know how he would take it, like, man, whatever. So I kind of flaked out.
No,
I didn't know.
no, we do it all the time, man.
Okay.
Like we do that stuff all the time,
Yeah.
of course, man. Never, never,
That
never
I was going to say,
hesitate. Just come
we
on.
now have him on record saying when he comes back to the States, we're going to go to the concert and he's going to give us a face to face. You can hug him then and take a picture. As long as that's okay
Yeah.
with Matt.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, no,
Yeah.
absolutely. Sure. No, but thank you so much for thanks so much for your support, guys. We
Yes,
appreciate it.
thank you.
I'm gonna go see. Hold on, I'm gonna go see ACDC.
Yeah, man. Hey, have a blast. It'd be awesome. I really do appreciate you.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you, man. I look forward to chatting again sometime.
Yes,
That'd
sir.
be
All
Yes,
awesome.
sir.
Thank you.
Yes,
righty.
sir.
Have a good
Thank
one.
you now.
Bye.